Hello? Hello?
Podcast Network Asia.
So if ever there's an apocalypse, it was like that. I don't know why. It was like Noah's Ark feels, guys. So and I still feel that way. And
Oh
then
my gosh!
yeah, so I've been talking to some engineers about designing a bunker and like what needs to be in the bunker. There needs to be air supply, food supply, water, that like that.
Mm.
You had me at air supply.
It was always in the back of my mind that there's a possibility some kind of like end of the world or apocalypse or zombie apocalypse would happen. And then when this whole COVID thing happened, I was like, see, I knew it. We need to go in the forest and like eat wild honey, RJ. Let's go.
Oh,
I woke up at 2 a.m. during this whole pandemic thing, March of last year. RJ, I'm so mad you don't have a plan. Let's go into the woods. Let's live like on wild honey and like grow our own food.
I didn't know I could be this equal parts happy and sad at the same time because number one, I'm sad because the boys are away today. Burns and brother Jay are busy at Feast Conference. They're both participating in that, so they're away today. However, in place of the boys, we have a longtime friend who I haven't seen in a really long time. He is, yes, joining us for the first time on the show. I think it's long overdue. YouTube phenomenon, Mikey Bustos is here. Oh my gosh.
Hi
Mike.
guys. Hi Sam. Hi Abby. Hi Tina. It is a pleasure to be here. And I am so happy seeing you guys. And Sam, it's been forever.
I know.
How has it
It's
been?
like old times.
Yes. Okay, so
I think
Mikey
2000
and I,
Yeah.
Mikey and I, we used to do the radio show together, Good Times, of course, with Mo. That was, it must have been at least 4 or 5 years ago, Mike.
Yes, I think that was 2015 or
Oh my gosh, even longer then.
16. Yeah,
Right,
something
right.
like that. Oh yeah,
Right.
it was a while ago.
Right.
It's good
And
to see
then,
you. You look exactly the same.
so do you. I mean, you look great. I know you're big into the fitness now.
Thanks.
You're what do you call it? Like you're cutting and
I
you're-
don't
what
know.
is it?
I'm eating properly and I'm like watching my body transform, I guess.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. and-
amazing, right?
yes.
It's something
you.
I've never done in my life, I think, is eat
Oh,
properly.
Tina, whatever. You are like supermodel skinny all the time.
Oh, I
Anyways.
wish, but I'm taking the proper food, which is spiritually, right?
Oh!
Perhaps I need to take a page from you guys and learn how to nourish my spirit.
Tina and Mikey are also very good friends. I think you guys saw more of each other
Yeah.
after our radio stint. Like I know you guys would meet up and hang out and all that stuff. And then it sounds to me like since then you've also started building a farmhouse. You have a
Yeah.
YouTube channel now where you actually, upload vlogs and give updates on all that's going on. Like, what farmhouse? What's going on here?
Yeah. So after the radio show, I continued to work. I did a lot of touring and more videos, of course. And then I just reached that age where I'm like, okay, it's time to set some roots down. And at the time I was doing radio, I was actually together with my partner, and I
Mhm.
said, RJ, let's build our dream farmhouse. So I've just been following that whole journey and vlogging everything. And so yeah, I'm kind of like settling down. I'm feeling like a Lolo, like retirement feels.
Yeah, because it sounds to me like this quarantine period, you did turn into a grandpa. Like you go to
I
bed at
did.
8 o'clock. You go to bed at 8 o'clock.
I know, it's crazy. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, it's been a total lifestyle change since the radio show days. And yeah, just kind of cruising now and trying to nourish all dimensions of my being.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's cool. No, that's cool. And Insta Abby, see, Mikey is building his farmhouse near your neighborhood because you're in Tagaytay right now, right? Because Insta
I'm in
Abby is
Tagaytay
in
now, yeah.
Cavite. Yeah.
Oh, we're in Cavite.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna be very close neighbors.
Yeah, you guys are neighbors. Yeah. Yeah.
Caviteño. Yes.
So did
Oh, it's Etiba.
Yeah.
What?
Etiba. Etiba.
Oh,
Yeah, Cavite.
okay.
Etiba.
Yeah, we
I gotta learn the
gangsta.
gang signs. Yeah,
Exactly.
I gotta learn
We
the gang
gangsta
signs.
on the show. All right. So was the farm life always like your dream? Because I know Tina, this is her dream life, is the farm life. Did you know that?
It is, teens.
It is.
Oh, okay. I never knew this. Well, you're free to
Oh.
come hang out with us, stay with us, and see if you really like the farm life. It's very different, like learning
As-
about soil. And I was very much, Sam, into like the science of like nature
Oh,
and
yeah.
animals. And so, yeah, like living on the farm and like organically is just, that's been always my dream.
Yeah. You also
I'm not sure if I'll go that far, like, testing the soil and all.
You
just
gotta
want,
learn
like-
that if you're gonna live on the
I
farm.
kind of want like a tiny home with a big lot so I can rescue
yeah.
all the dogs.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, no, you guys
The
are
dogs would love
pretty
you.
much in the same neighborhood. Like the last vlog of Mikey's that I watched, you were showing everyone the mango tree that you planted, the avocado tree
Yeah.
that you planted. You were touring everyone
Yeah.
around your big garden. And yes, Mikey is a big science nerd. He runs another
Oh my
YouTube channel
gosh.
called Ants Canada, which has over 4 million subscribers. No
Mhm.
less than the creator of The Simpsons, Matt Groening, got in touch with him
Oh my
because
gosh,
his son
yes.
is a big fan of your channel and wanted to chat with you.
Wow, Sam, someone's done her research.
No, I
You
mean,
have
this
not
is-
changed one bit.
No, but that's such a big deal. That is a huge deal. What was that
Thank you.
like?
OMG, like I grew up on The Simpsons. That was my staple for television. And so when the wife actually of Matt Groening, her name is Augusta, contacted me, we thought it was fake. And then we had to research through her Instagram and I'm like, oh my God, it's her. So we ended up Zooming with them and the
Yeah.
kid is brilliant. The kid is like a 9-year-old, 11-year-old genius for ants. He knows scientific names
Wow.
and all of that. And I'm like, okay, when we Zoom, I hope to see Matt Groening in the background somewhere. Matt Groening came up to the screen and sat down the whole hour session talking to me and his kid. And I was just like, hi, Matt. Do you time travel? I just went crazy.
Wow. Is
Time
it
travel.
groaning or grenning?
They pronounce it graining.
Oh, graining.
Yeah, but I was like groaning. But I
Thank
don't know.
you. I thought
Graining,
this
graining.
whole time groaning.
Me too.
Oh,
Yeah.
graining pala.
Anyways, yeah, total fanboy moment.
Yeah. And Stabby, you know The Simpsons, right? Yes. Okay. So Matt Groening sent Mikey an illustration of Homer Simpson covered in fire
Ant
ants,
bites.
like red ants, right?
I
So
died.
yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's in a safe somewhere.
Amazing. Amazing.
In the bunker.
Yeah, it'll be in the
Okay.
bunker.
Okay, that too. Okay, so what is this I hear
Okay.
that you are building a bunker in your farmhouse? Is that true?
Yes. Okay. So now
Oh my
now
God,
we're going
you
into the realm. Yeah, you thought I was joking, teens. So now that we're going into the realm of the spiritual, sort of. A few years ago, this is how I got into farming. I felt, I could feel it somehow in my spirit that we needed to prepare for something. So this is why we bought the farm lot. And we started looking around 2018. And then
So-
we got it. And then I felt like we needed more. So then we got the other farm lot in Iloilo, which is 33 hectares of land. So I'm like, okay, we're good, I think. So if ever there's an apocalypse, it was like that. I don't know why. It was like Noah's Ark feels, guys.
Oh,
Yeah. So and I still feel that way. And
oh my
then
gosh.
yeah, so I've been talking to some engineers about designing a bunker and like what needs to be in the bunker. There needs to be air supply, food supply, water, that like that.
Mm.
You had me at air supply. Even the night song. Okay.
So
Yeah.
that feeling that you had though, like, did it have anything to do? I mean, I know you said that, I don't know why, but did it have anything to do in your head about, second coming end times? Because on the show, that's kind of what we're discerning right now. Not kind of, because on the show, that's what we're discerning right now is second coming. There is a testimony on the book of Revelation, new heaven and new earth, which is the church that we have on this on this podcast. We're trying to listen, figure out, and discern if this is true. And it's been fascinating. But I mean, when you hear, second coming, end times, and all that stuff, like, what are you thinking? And did it have anything to do with this whole move with the farmhouse and the bunker?
Absolutely. So growing up, I grew up in the Catholic system, and I, of course, read the book of Revelations. I went to catechism and all of that. So it was always in the back of my mind that there's a possibility some kind of like end of the world or apocalypse or zombie apocalypse would happen. And then when this whole COVID thing happened, I was like, see, I knew it. We need to go in the forest and like eat wild honey, RJ. Let's go. I woke up at 2 a.m. during this whole pandemic thing, March of last year. I'm like, RJ, I'm so mad you don't have a plan. Let's go into the woods. Let's live like on wild honey and like grow our own food. I'm serious, guys. That's how deep.
Wow.
Oh, because that time they were stuck.
I'm like, I knew it. I'm like, this is like total decay of society. It's like an apocalypse.
You were stuck where?
No, they were
in my condo.
Yeah. So
it wasn't stuck. It was just like I was really nervous. Like, I mean, all of us, right? It shook our core of like
because of
security.
the lockdown. Like when we all went into lockdown, you mean?
Yeah, and like people dying from this virus. It was so Hollywood.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the good news is, Mike, and I do believe this now, as we have talked a lot about this on the show. I think when I definitely subscribe to that idea before, I think, where we would hear end times or second coming, and it would just in my head translate into destruction of the planet. Like life as we know it on Earth coming to an end, wiped out. Exactly.
Passing through fire.
Yeah.
And only the purest survive.
You've given this some thought, obviously. Yeah. But I think as we learn more about the Bible, we're learning that that's not quite what's going to happen. It's more, I think second coming and end times is really more like the end of an era and the beginning of a new one.
Okay, that sits better in my spirit a little. How about you guys?
Yeah.
How about you guys?
Diba, Insta Abby? I mean, is that how you would describe the second coming or end times that we see in the Bible?
Yes. So actually, yung mga prophecies na nakakatakot, like the fire, that the heavens and earth and all its elements will be destroyed by fire, like what we've discussed last episode. I think yung fire is not a physical fire. It's spiritual.
Okay.
Yes. So it's an end of generation or an era. And then God will create another one.
Mikey will so love this. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this will appeal to your science, logic inclined thinking. Because what we're doing right now is we're learning the parables in the Bible. So there are figurative words that are used in the Bible, and they're based on physical things, but they're really conveying to us spiritual things. So that's what we're breaking down right now. Do you feel like, because you're really more science inclined, did you ever feel like the Bible and science, or faith and science, they always they couldn't mix?
Clashed. Yeah. I've had 40 years to think about that question. I've always believed that they could coexist. It's just a matter of how they were connected, and I'm still actually trying to figure out that connection. But inside, I feel like they can definitely coexist.
Yeah.
But yeah, being a science guy, I mean, even science guy people are afraid of an end of times. It's not necessarily a spiritual thing. Like, at any moment a comet can hit the earth and like totally liquefy the planet, or other things like this virus. So yeah, I do feel like they can coexist. I still believe, but I'm still trying to figure out how. You know what I mean?
I think we all are actually here on the show. And I think learning about the parables helps us understand, like, okay, why is the Bible written this way? Why did God speak this way? What is he trying to tell us? I think that's what we're trying to get at. And then, of course, ultimately, the book of Revelation, which is a very confusing book to read on your own. Yeah.
Very confusing.
Yeah. But Mike, where are you like in your spiritual journey? Do you identify as like a Christian? Are you, where are you?
Well, by paper, I'm Catholic. So I
By
really,
paper.
I really grew up in the Catholic system in Canada. So from kindergarten to all of high school, it was Catholic. I was raised by nuns and priests, and I actually lived with a
Wow.
tita who was a retired nun. So I could say any prayer. You tell me any prayer, I know it off by heart.
Wow.
So I do believe I did grow up in the Catholic faith. My best friend was a priest. I was very active in the
Really?
church. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
goodness. I
yeah.
did not know that. Okay.
I used to have like morning coffee with the priests, and I would, yeah, it was just so much fun. I love the church community. Since then, uh, I do feel like it was moving away from the formalities of church and more into like a missionary dimension of church.
Mm.
So now I feel like I do believe in God. But it has almost evolved in complexity in comparison to what my vision of God was before.
Okay.
Uh, and
Uh.
yeah, that's the best way I could describe it.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
still trying to figure it out too. Like I'm still trying to figure out God myself, but I speak to God every day.
Yeah.
I do believe that, I call him life source,
Mm.
Oh.
life
Which he
source
is.
energy, which he
Yeah.
is. That's,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's cool. That's
That's
cool.
where I'm at.
Yeah. No, I love how every time we have a guest on and we ask them about just their faith life and where they are in their journey, like, we're all in different parts and we're all trying to figure it out. And I love that we get to journey together whenever we have someone over like this and we get to hear about their story. And I love it. And I love that it's you today. Like, I've missed you so much. Oh my gosh.
I
Okay.
miss you too, Sam.
Yeah.
And in honor of Mikey, I am
Oh, hey!
from the
Hey!
cup. You took this home, Mikey, from, remember, Jennifer, my classmate back in high school, mama, who lives in Toronto.
Oh, wow.
She watched your show when you went
Oh,
home, and I think
oh
she sent this
yeah.
for me. Oh,
Cute.
Insta
Awesome.
Abby, see, Mikey was in Canadian Idol. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
singing.
yo.
All singing in church every week
Oh,
prepared
wow.
me for
Yeah.
the TV. Yeah.
Yeah, Mikey is an
Ano nga?
amazing singer, and he does
Thank you.
all of these hilarious spoof videos. You can check that at Mikey Bustos, the YouTube channel, and then again, there's Mikey Bustos vlogs, and then there's Ants Canada, millions of subscribers. Okay,
Wow.
last question before we officially hit the parables for today.
Can't wait.
Is the Bible a part of your spiritual life at all? I mean, how interested are you in it? Have you read the whole thing? Like, what is the Bible to you in your spiritual life?
I've definitely read the whole thing.
You have?
Of course. Like I said, I grew up in the Catholic system. I went to catechism. Yeah, definitely read the whole thing. It's been many years, however. Do I ever go back to the Bible? No. But I do, like, certain things have stuck in my head. Like, oh my gosh, what in particular? There are moments when certain like Bible verses will stick to my head. Anytime in my romance life, like love is kind, love is patient, like all those little things I try to apply to my relationships. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's clearly worked. I've been with RJ now for 9 years.
Yeah. Is that what 1 Corinthians 13? Is that where
Wow.
you find
Yes.
that? Yeah. I mean, it's a popular one, like at weddings, right? They read
Sam,
that
can I
all
just
the time.
say that
What?
this is so interesting to see you like this? So different, but it's a good thing. It's a good change. Wow, you like totally know the verses. I'm so proud of you.
No, like I said, this is a very popular go-to wedding Bible verse. Diba? They
Yeah.
always quote this one.
Yeah,
But you're
it's
right.
a different area for sure.
No, you're right. Mikey and I, when we were on the radio together, I was a very different person, at a
Yes.
very different point in my life.
Wow.
And she
Talk about
drags me
the
along
end
with
of
her,
an era,
Mikey.
the beginning of a new era. Like, now that we're on that
Shut
topic.
up.
Ito yung revelation
Wow.
ni Sam.
Yeah, seriously. This book, yeah. Exactly.
Oh, Instabi, do not believe them. I was always like this. The girl you see in Bible class, this has always been me. Hoy, Tina.
Exposing some pala ngayon eh.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I don't know what answer I was expecting with the Bible question, but I didn't expect you to say that you actually read the whole thing. And it's so funny because Tina and I were talking
about
just
it.
a little prior to the recording, and we were like, you know what? We should read the entire Bible. Let's do it together. I seriously do it alone.
That's what we were talking about. I'm like,
Yeah.
because you know, the Bible class we're doing now, it's very different and we find it very logical. But I'm like, Sam, you want to go read the Bible? I don't want to read it alone. Can we do it together?
Oh. No, for me, it was grade 5. In religion class,
Wow.
we started at Genesis, ended at Revelations.
You read it in school?
Yeah, and we even had to summarize it. Each
Whoa.
book. Yeah, like it took the whole year.
Wait,
That
so
is
Mikey,
amazing.
do you remember any parables?
Yes.
Never.
Well, I mean, there's the popular ones like the prodigal son. Is that a parable?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And then there's the Good Samaritan. Is that one?
Yes.
But
Yes.
Yeah.
what? Is it proper to ask Mikey how he understands it?
Oh,
Or if he recalls
it's been a
it?
while.
Oh.
It's been
No.
a while. Yeah.
I think there are those parables that you mentioned. These are stories we see in the Bible that have moral lessons to convey. But the parables that we are going through with New Heaven and New Earth right now, this is strictly figurative language that God uses in the Bible for prophecies. So,
let's talk
oh, yeah.
about that.
oh yes, we are.
That sounds
So,
juicy.
It
I like
is
prophecies.
juicy.
It is juicy. Like, let's have a look at the future. Go.
Yes. Okay,
Oh my
so yeah,
gosh,
in
there we
Stabby,
go.
yeah. What parables are we talking about today?
Light and darkness. That's why I'm wearing
And
black.
I know, okay, no wonder. Look, Tina, you and I are all wearing black. And then, of course, we have our guest who is not in black, but that's fine. That's cool.
Still dark. Yeah.
Light and darkness. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let's start.
Okay, so just a short background of what we are sharing here. Sa mga nakarang episodes po kasi, we were discussing the parables or figurative language used in the Bible, especially when God is giving a prophecy, or even Jesus, when he spoke about the kingdom of heaven and the prophecies para sa second coming. It is something that is not easily understood. Ano ba yung parables or figurative language? In Romans chapter 1 verse 20, sinabi doon, for since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power, divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that men are without excuse. So merong binanggit na invisible qualities. Ibig sabihin, we can see them, we can touch, we can smell. It means it's spiritual because God is spirit. And God has certain things that we will not understand with our physical senses, but he wants us to understand those things. Papaano? Through physical things or physical creation. Kaya naman, ang parable is, it's like borrowing physical things like places, animals, location, events, objects to explain something spiritual. So previously, we discussed about seed, field, ano ba? Tree, bird, food,
Bowl,
beast, bowl,
sensor,
scale, rod, fire
rod.
sensor, and pot. Medyo madami na.
Mm, actually.
And we can read those things inside the Bible. But we can't just interpret it physically as it is. There's a spiritual understanding. And same with our topic for this episode, light and darkness. So ano yung light? Light is something to be brought into the darkness. But you can't bring darkness into something, di ba? Light can be brought in. So kung madilim, pwede natin lagyan ng liwanag. Pero yung liwanag, di natin pwedeng ilagay yung dilim. So ganun kasimple yung difference nila. And like what we were saying, God can help us to understand things about the spiritual world through the things of the physical world. Ganon din yung light and darkness. At isa din sa mga bagay na gustong ipaunawa sa atin ng Diyos, there are people that belong to Him and there are people that do not. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verses 1 to 6, sinabi doon, now brothers and sisters, about times and dates, we do not need to write to you. So it's about the second coming of Jesus. For you know very well that the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night, while people are saying peace and safety. Destruction will come on them suddenly as labor pains on a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. But you, brothers and sisters, are not in darkness, so that this day should surprise you like a thief. You are all children of the light and children of the day. We do not belong to the night or to the darkness. So then, let us not be like others who are asleep, but let us be awake and sober. So that is about children of light and children of the darkness. So there's a major difference between the two. These two different kinds of people, sons of the day or light, meron ding sons of the night or darkness.
Are any of these Bible verses coming back to you, like transporting you back
Of course.
to grade 5?
Of course. And that's another, the thief in the night verse is
Yeah.
another thing that stayed in my mind forever. Hence the
Oh.
bunker.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, I ain't gonna let no thief in the night take me. I'm gonna build a bunker.
Wow, well, there you go. There's the Bible verse that inspired the bunker. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so
ahead.
go on,
Yeah.
Abby.
So sinabi doon, the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night to those who don't have the light. So this is something spiritual. It says it's dividing people that have the understanding of how Jesus is going to come again and those that do not. And once we do not have that understanding, ano yung mangyayari? Then He comes suddenly. He comes when we don't expect Him. But if we have the light, then we can see. At yun yung bagay na gustong ibigay sa atin ng Diyos, the light. Pero para maintindihan natin yung spiritual meaning niya, o yung deep spiritual understanding niya, alamin muna natin what is the physical characteristic ng isang liwanag. Saan ba siya ginagamit? Una, it helps us to see things. Another thing, it reveals hidden things. To guide us, yes. It shines in the darkness, and yeah, katulad nung nabanggit kanina, it is the source of life. Katulad nabanggit ni Mikey, yeah, ang Diyos ay source ng buhay, at ganun din itong liwanag. Di ba imagine, can we live or can we survive without the light?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. The plants, the animals, hindi sila mabubuhay. And one thing din, kahit meron tayong mata, if we have eyes, but there is no light, wala pa rin
We
tayong
cannot
makikita.
see.
Yes. In the same way, if there is a light, but we don't have eyes to see, then hindi pa rin tayo makakakita. Kaya naman, our next episode at itong episode na ito are related to each other. So tingnan natin figurative light and darkness. 1 Thessalonians, it makes clear, it says, do not be like those who are dwelling in darkness. Ano kaya yung actions na meron sila? Ang tao kasi, it's very easy to judge people by their outward appearances, di ba? Pero madalas, hindi nila nakikita yung sarili. And it's so sad. For example, the Pharisees and Sadducees, who were the church leaders 2,000 years ago, they easily judged others. Ang mga tax collectors, ang mga prostitutes, adulterers, etc. Even si Jesus and the disciples, ginajudge nila. But they didn't realize na mas worse pa sila actually because they were killing people's spirits with their lies.
Whitewash
So it also-
tombs.
Yeah. So those who have the light, what do they have? They have the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding. So light is having understanding of the Word of God or even a person with the understanding. Ngayon, ano naman yung darkness? What is the opposite of darkness?
Light.
Like, oh,
Brightness.
brightness. Yeah.
Brightness. What is the opposite of understanding?
Light.
Not knowing.
Confusion.
Confusion.
Confusion, not knowing, ignorance, yes. And ignorance is not a bad word actually. So kung naiisip ko, oh, I don't understand the word of God, so I feel bad about it. No, it's not. It simply means that we do not know. But if we realize na hindi natin alam at we come to the light, then we can have the light. So very simple. If we have the light, then we are the people with understanding. If we are a person with no understanding, then we are the people of the darkness. So if we are the people of darkness, then our thoughts about God is dark, malabo. Those thoughts about God's work is going to be dark also. God's prophecies, God's plan, God's purpose, and His will, hindi natin malalaman. Kaya kapag may ginagawa ang Diyos, hindi natin makikita kasi nasa darkness. So even in our daily conversation, actually we use light, yung salitang liwanag. For example, I enter the room and you guys are having conversation and it's really intense. So pumasok ako and I say, what's going on? What happened? Kasi hindi ko alam. So I'm like, I am left in the dark. So anong gagawin niya, diba? And what will you do? Okay, Abby, let me shed some light on the situation. So you'll explain it and I will have the understanding. So same thing to God. If God closes that understanding, then it's darkness. And if He opens that understanding, that's the light. At saan nagmumula yung light? In Psalms 119 verse 105, your word is a lamp for my feet and a light on my path. Familiar?
The feast.
That's very popular.
They sing this at the feast, yes.
Okay.
So what is the lamp and the light? The word. Your word is a lamp for my feet and a light onto my path. So the word, it helps us to follow the path. The word reveals the things na ginagawa ng Diyos, and it guides us and it gives us life. But it's more than the word. It's about the understanding of the word. The reason is God's word is actually sealed to those who do not know. In Psalms 119 verse 130, sinabi doon, the unfolding of your words gives light. It gives understanding to the simple. So if it says the unfolding of your word means what happens first? Ano mo yung sitwasyon? It's folded. Kasi sinabi, di ba, the unfolding of your word, meaning it is folded first. It is sealed. So no one can actually understand. You can, yes, read it. It's just there. But the unfolding of your word, sinabi, it gives light, meaning the light comes when the word is being unfolded or opened. And it says that the light is understanding. So kung merong prophecy ang Diyos, malinaw, is it clear yung prophecy?
No.
It's not. So kailan darating yung light? Kailan maa-unfold siya?
Pag naintindihan na natin?
Yes, kailan yon? Since it's a prophecy or a promise, it's like a sealed.
Sa fulfillment.
Yes, when it is
Happens.
fulfilled. Yes, when it happens. In Luke chapter 24, verses 25 and 27 to 27, the story here is si Jesus na resurrect. And there are two disciples walking on the road. And they look very sad kasi si Jesus, nawawala yung bangkay. Yun yung usapan nila. And then hindi nila alam, unknowingly, si Jesus sumabay sa kanila sa paglalakad. And then Jesus asked, bakit ang lungkot ninyo? Anong nangyari? So sinabi ng dalawang disciples, hindi mo ba alam yung nangyari sa Panginoon? Namatay siya, and then ngayon, his body is missing. Then ano sabi ni Jesus sa kanila? How foolish you are and how slow to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not the Messiah have to suffer those things and then enter his glory? And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what was said in all the scriptures concerning himself. So ibig sabihin, they don't understand that it was God's plan. But imagine, sila yung disciples ni Jesus pero hindi pa rin talaga nila naiintindihan ng lubusan yung salita ng Diyos. They had no idea na kailangang danasin yun ng Panginoong Jesus. So what Jesus did, He explained the scriptures. And after i-explain ni Jesus yun, ano yung sinabi ng two disciples? In verse 32, they asked each other, were not our hearts burning within us while He talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us? So binuksan. Anong ibig sabihin? Not unfolding physically or literally, pero pinaalam ng Panginoong Yesus yung fulfillment ng prophecy. So Jesus opened the scriptures to them. How? By explaining the prophecy through the fulfillment. In John chapter 1, verses 1 to 5, sinabi doon, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning, and through Him all things were made. Without Him nothing was made that has been made. In Him was life, and that life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness has not understood it. So sinabi doon, the Word is God, and is life, and is light. But the darkness has not understood it. So if we want God in our lives, what do we need to have?
The word.
Word.
The Word. Kasi sinabi, the Word is God. So if we want life, we want light, what do we need to have? Say the Word. That's how important the Word is. So Jesus is the light of the world. Sinabi niya, I am the light of the world. Even to His disciples, you are the light of the world. Bakit? Yes, si Jesus, He didn't go around glowing. Hindi naman literal yon, but He came with the wisdom, with the knowledge and understanding sa salita ng Diyos. He knows perfectly what is the work of God that needs to be done at that time. So yung mga Jews, the chosen people, yes, they were waiting for the Messiah, but only few were able to accept the light. Kasi nireject nila si Jesus. Bakit? Because in John chapter 3 verse 19, people loved darkness instead of light. So they were not able to realize na natutupad na pala yung prophecy, yung pangako ng Diyos sa lumang tipan. So what Jesus did, He exposed the lies of the Pharisees so they can receive the truth. So ano yung nagbablock sa mga tao to receive the light?
Lies.
Yeah, yung mga
False
lies o
teachings.
false teachings na tinuturo ng mga Pharisees, teachers of the law and the Sadducees. But actually, those people, since they are expert sa salita ng Diyos, yeah, magagaling sila, matatalino, they look righteous on the outside. But inwardly, according to Jesus, they are like ferocious wolves. Bakit ferocious wolves? Because they are killing the spirits of the people or the chosen people. So anong kailangan nilang gawin? Actually, si Jesus, na-expose niya yung kasinungalingan ng mga church leaders at that time. Hindi para i-judge sila or i-condemn sila para maging masama sila sa paningin ng mga tao, but actually, Jesus was giving them a chance to reflect on themselves. Di ba kailangan nilang matanggap yung light? But instead, what they have done to Jesus? They killed him. Yeah, they rejected.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
they killed
Crucified
him.
Him.
So, pero ang dapat nilang gawin? Let go the lie and then accept the truth. But the truth will come in a certain time. If you think about a timeline, in the Old Testament, there was Adam. So from the time of Adam, alam natin na yung kasalanan ay pumasok. And for this period of time, God is working with these people. From Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, yan, sa chosen people. But sin keeps entering more and more and more. And there is a time when God seals the word, sinarhan niya. Nakalagay ito sa Isaiah chapter 29. Ibig sabihin, even though they read it, they can understand it. Kasi prophecy siya. Pangako para sa future. Pero what is the good thing? There is also a prophecy na ito ay bubuksan. It will be revealed in Ezekiel chapters 1 to 3. It talks about the open scroll. So ibig sabihin, yung Old Testament prophecy, darating yung time na ito ay matutupad. Kapag sinabing nakasarado, it means even you read it, you can understand. And it is God who sealed it.
It's a whole lot of light. It's a whole lot of light. I feel like I just removed my shades that I've been wearing my whole life, but I am
Wow.
taking in this light.
Oh,
Aww.
yeah. So sa Isaiah chapter 29, the book is sealed. And it was God who sealed it. So kailan to natupad? At the time ng first coming. Simple. Just it's like this. Old Testament, It's like an old promise. It's like an old covenant of God with the chosen people. And since it's a promise, there is a time na matutupad. Kailan natupad yun? Time of first coming. And then there's another prophecy, New Testament. And when do you think it's going to fulfill?
Second
Second
coming.
That's why we are trying to understand all these parables and prophecies or figurative languages para kapag dumating yung fulfillment, yan, we are the people of the light na maiintindihan natin yung nangyayari. So there are those who understood and those who did not at the time ng first coming. Sa mga nakaunawa, those who understand, they receive the light. But later, Jesus said, it will go away. Alin yun? The light. This is very important kasi nag-prophesy din si Jesus na a night will come. Yes, when he came 2,000 years ago, there was a light. Because the Old Testament prophecies were fulfilled. But he said in John chapter 9, verses 4 to 5, as long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world. So when Jesus was there, tinawag niya yun na daytime. Pero what is the promise? Night will come. When it says that it was a day, it means the book is opened. Kasi that is the time of fulfillment where we can understand the prophecies. So what he was saying when he says darkness will come, meaning it's going to be sealed. The words of God are going to be sealed again. Specifically, the New Testament, because there's a new promise. And if it is a promise, if it is a prophecy, then it is hidden in parables. That is when people no longer understand the word of God. Yes, there are things na nakasulat doon for moral teachings. We can understand the moral teachings, the stories and all, the history. But the prophecy, it's not so easy because it's hidden in parables. What is the proof? In Revelation chapter 5, we can see that there is a sealed scroll, sealed with 7 seals, which means there is a time na ito ay mabubuksan. And ito ay nakaprophesy din naman in Revelation chapter 10 na there is another mighty angel holding the open scroll. Meaning, time ng second coming, mafulfill ang lahat ng pangako ng Panginoong Jesus in the New Testament. In short, there's a night time when no one understands the word or the word of prophecy, and there is a daytime when the word is open, which means the fulfillment of the prophecy takes place. So time of prophecy, is it nighttime or daytime?
Nighttime.
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 But when the time of fulfillment comes, nighttime or daytime?
Daytime.
Daytime.
Daytime. So, ganun kasimple yung light and darkness.
So what is it now? Is it like madaling araw or something? Mukhang liwayway ba, Insta Abby?
The promise of Jesus in John chapter 16, verse 25, though I have been speaking figuratively, a time is coming when I will no longer use this kind of language, but will tell you plainly about my Father. When Jesus uses the word time is coming, a time will come, it is referring to the future. So it means at the time of the second coming, one of the clues na makikita natin na it is fulfilling now when the parables or the figurative languages are being explained.
Which is what
How
we're
will that
doing right
happen?
now.
Uh-huh.
How that Mikey's asking how that happened in Stabby. How did that happen?
How will that happen? Like, how will it be explained? Because aren't we speculating now, or is this like fact?
No,
It's
so
fact.
this is the stance. Wow. This is the stance of New Heaven and New Earth, Shincheonji Church of Jesus. By the way, I got so excited about Mikey joining us today that I totally forgot to introduce ourselves, which is what we do in the beginning of the show. But no, I just jumped right into conversation, catching up with Mikey, totally forgot. Yeah.
Look at us assuming we're all known. We're all famous.
Right,
popular,
guys?
Mikey. What are you
I'm
talking about?
sorry. I'm sorry. It totally slipped my mind. I was just so,
That's
happy to
so
see Mikey.
fun.
But it's true. Yeah. So Mike, Instructor Abby Saget is from New Heaven and New Earth Shincheonji Church of Jesus. They are testifying right now about the book of Revelation. Their stance
Okay.
is that the founder of their church, Chairman Lee, he received an understanding on the book of Revelation. And that's
Oh.
what they're sharing with the world. They're doing a series online right
Okay.
now. So
I get it now.
yeah.
That's the context.
That is the context.
That was
which I-
that was the missing character. Now I understand. Okay,
Which
so
is-
where is this
yeah.
guy?
He's in
He's
Korea.
in Korea.
They're a Korean
Oh.
church.
Korean.
So
Oh,
let's build the bunker there, Mikey.
and is he a lay? Yeah, is he a lay person or like a priest or
No,
He's our pastor.
he's a
But-
pastor?
But Insta Abby, diba? I mean, because okay, so we have been talking to New Heaven and New Earth on the podcast for over a year because I started this podcast with them. And then eventually, like, oh, that's what's happening over at your church. Oh, how interesting. So
Oh my
now
God,
we're
tell
kind of
Mikey.
no, yeah. So that's why we're kind of discerning now the testimony, because from everything we've heard on the podcast, like in the seminars that we've been to so far, he's not a trained or educated
Mhm.
or
Yes.
ordained pastor. Like if anything, he just says that he's a regular person. He was a farmer. And
Farmer,
he's
Mikey.
not-
He's a
farmer.
farmer.
I'm not a theology expert.
Carpentry.
Yeah, none of that. But this understanding was given to me. And so that is what they're sharing with the world, really, online.
Okay, so he shared this with you, Abby, and you're sharing what he shared with you to us now.
Yes.
Okay, I can
So-
get that.
Yeah, so their stance is that the second coming is actually happening right now. Like this is it.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm just like, oh, I knew it. I told you so. RJ, did you hear that? Second coming is happening now. All right, got it. It's all right. I'm not scared. I'm prepared. I'm a child of the light.
Okay, see, okay. Thank you for saying that, because I think a lot of people, when they hear second coming, their instant reaction is fear. Oh my goodness, freak
It's still a
out.
little scary. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
So you don't believe, Abby, on this whole thing of like 3 days of darkness and like you got to stay indoors. There'll be 3 days of like complete darkness and like
Mikey.
people will come knock on your door to be let in and don't let them in because those are demons. Like you
Where
don't believe
is
in all that,
that?
right?
We don't
Where is
believe.
that? Yeah, in the Bible.
I don't know.
Yeah, where's
like
that?
someone I was maybe like 9 years old and like maybe they were Protestant, but they told us this whole story of what's going to happen based on revelations, and that's where this internal fear that I'm dealing with as a 40-year-old came from, and
And I
in
think
relation to revelations.
Because a lot of also a lot of people that I've spoken to about the revelation, they took it literally, Mikey. And even I took it literally.
Even
Because
I, before.
Oo naman.
Even I.
Okay.
when Sam
I was
invited
scared
me,
to death.
And
Oh.
even some of the things that have been said during apparitions of Mother Mary, that's scary.
Like in
That stuff
Fatima.
stayed with me forever. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Garabandal, those girls there.
sorry,
Yeah.
what? Who?
Our Lady of Garabandal.
Oh,
They're like
Okay.
these like sisters who like saw this apparition of Mary and they were revealed a vision of hell and like what's coming and they were screaming. Okay, like these are things that like stayed with me as a child.
Right. No, and I think there's really a lot of confusion when it comes to the book of Revelation and just prophecies and things like that, because people will interpret it many different ways. But I think based on what we have just heard from you today, Insta Abby, because first of all, this concept of the Bible being a book that is sealed during a certain period of time and then opened at, I guess, when God decides to,
Appointed
That's-
time.
appointed time is what you call it. Okay. This concept is something that I've never heard before. This is only something that I keep
Exactly.
hearing from New Heaven and New Earth. And so, and I mean, the Bible does say that, in the
Okay.
references that you mentioned. And I think with, say, like the book of Revelation, right? I don't understand the whole thing, and that's why we're doing the series, but it does seem to me like the understanding of a book like this is given by God. It's not
Yes.
something that human beings can
From
figure
men's
out
Interpret on their
From
own.
on their own.
Mhm.
Like because I'm a scholar and I've read this book all my life, I've figured it out. I don't think it happens this way. I think the understanding is really given. And maybe that sounds a little strange, but then that is how God works in the Bible. There are prophets, there are chosen people who are anointed, so I guess in this modern age, that sounds a bit wild, but that is consistently how we see God work in the Bible, I think.
Okay, so this second coming, right? It's basically like one big mass understanding.
What does
It's
that
not
mean?
like the end of a world or anything
No,
like
it's
that. It's
No.
like suddenly
not.
we've been enlightened with some information.
It's actually end of an era or generation. So
Okay.
it's not the end of the whole world wherein God will destroy everything in it
Right.
like that. No, it's not. Actually, there's a promise that God will come down.
Yeah.
The heaven will come down.
Look at my
As
face.
as
haven't
in
heard it.
no,
Doesn't
I'm trying to
sound
figure out
scary,
if
right?
yeah, it feels like an opening of a dimension. Like I just
That's
think
right.
black hole opens and like another dimension that was not meant to be in this universe comes pouring down.
The Milky
Hi.
Way is gonna come down.
Like welcome to
The reason why
100th
I said
dimension.
it because if God is going to destroy the whole earth or the whole world, then how come He promised that He will come down?
Yeah, what's he gonna come back to?
Okay, but is that symbolic too? Is that
Oh.
metaphoric too? Or we don't know
It's-
because we're in the dark.
No, it's actually how can I say this? God will come back.
Okay, but we don't
I don't know
how.
how for now because hindi pa siya nangyayari. But that's the promise of God, and that's the reason why He worked so hard for 6,000 years to restore everything. Because the world is
I'm thinking
corrupted.
about my bunker now. It's a waste of money.
It's a waste of money.
Yeah, like there's no end of the world happening.
There's no
Are
end
you
of the world.
disappointed?
Yeah, my whole life's work is shattered.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I know you are, but I think that's what we're doing here is we're trying to understand, because that is the promise that we see in the book of Revelation. The salvation plan of God, which is the Bible, ends with God and the heavens coming down here to the physical world, which is what God intended from the beginning. But then there was the fall of Adam, sin entered, and we've been
in the
just
dark.
been.
Oh, it goes back to there.
Yes, that's why we need to kind of, I think, have an overarching understanding of the Bible. But, that's what we're trying to do here. And I know what you got today is a little piece of that. But I think after having heard...
This is a huge piece. My brain can't even digest this piece of pie right now. But
you know what?
It's interesting.
Isn't it though? Isn't it? I mean,
it's interesting because I can't figure it out yet.
Right. But I think today's lesson in Stabby basically was about how the Bible talks about a state of understanding and a state of not understanding, or maybe choosing not to understand. Because choosing not to understand, because I think when we are sincerely seeking God, the promise in the Bible is ask and seek and knock, and it'll be given to you, open to you, and revealed to you. Not exactly in those words, not verbatim, but something like that. And so I think it's really a matter of, number one, realizing that, oh, I am in the dark. I'm in the dark. And then number two, so what am I going to do about it? Am I now then going to humbly ask God for this understanding? Or am I just gonna stay in the dark? Because I think that's kind of what happened during the first coming, where the light came and people were like, no, I'm comfy in the dark. Because there's that
Okay.
line in the
I-
book of
I
John,
get
the
that.
light
Mhm.
was shining in the darkness, but then the darkness did not
Right.
understand it. Something like that is kind of my
I
takeaway.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
today.
that explained it super well. I get that.
Right.
Interesting.
Another interesting thing in Stabby, in that one of the verses that you said, which Mikey recalled from his days of reading the Bible and summarizing every book.
This is from
I-
Thessalonians.
Yes, nagkukwota ng
Oh.
Bible. Yes, that one. No,
Wow,
that
Tina,
one.
you too?
Right? I'm rubbing off on her. That thing about Jesus coming like a thief in the night,
Oh.
right?
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of people talk about this verse and think that we're just never gonna know. It's not our job to know, and it's not gonna happen. But I think when you read the whole thing, it does also mention that there are people who are in the light who will be aware. So again, it's
Yes.
like, where are you team darkness or are you team light? Like, which one are you gonna be? I think is kind of the question that we should be reflecting on, perhaps.
I'm team light. I mean, like I've been left out for so long.
I
Ako yung walang
know.
alam, right, Mikey?
I want to be a team light.
Yeah, we should all be team
Come
light.
on, team light. There's a lot of darkness in the bunker, Mikey.
Don't say that.
I'm kidding.
I was
In church,
divinely
well lit.
inspired to build that bunker. I'm team light.
You know what? Having heard what Insta Abby shared with us today, Mike, what are your thoughts on this lesson that we had today on the parables of light and darkness?
Okay. The first thing that my first takeaway is that it's not something that is scary, like literal apocalypse vibes. Right, Abby?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Just check in. Second takeaway is very complicated. And actually, I subscribe to this train of thought that we humans just generally can't understand readily the truths about the universe and all that is. And so we should always be on this road to asking questions and being curious and figuring out how we can further enlighten ourselves. And I like that. That I get.
What about you, Tina? Do you have a takeaway today?
Takeaway ko, ang dami kong verse na babasahin. Kasi she mentioned so many verses that I really kind of want to, look into tonight.
Yeah.
But I like what Mikey said about asking questions, because one thing I loved about studying with, New Heaven and New Earth, and Mikey, is the fact that they encourage us to ask questions. That's one fact I love about studying with Sam and, under New Heaven and New Earth, because they just like really encourage us. Hey, if you don't understand, ask, we'll explain. So I think it's the Abby from the beginning. I was the student who just had a million questions, and she was just so patient. And Sam was the best classmate, Mikey.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's true.
And that's why we're gonna read it together.
No,
Awesome,
yeah,
teens.
yeah. So I mean, this is kind of what we're doing on the podcast. Is we're trying to. The series is called Road to Revelation, right? The final, pit stop is Book of Revelation. How are we gonna understand this? And could it be possible that things are fulfilling already? And
Now.
yes, because if you watch the Revelation series that they're doing right now, I mean, they're talking about dates and places, people,
What?
Yes.
Are you mentioned? Okay, is metaverse included in this conversation?
What's metaverse?
Because I do. What? Oh my gosh.
What's that?
Metaverse?
Yeah.
The metaverse? Oh my. Okay,
Repeating
now I
it
feel
is
like
not gonna clarify.
I feel like a child of the light right now. The metaverse is the next biggest thing since the internet.
Oh.
It's
Wow.
like, okay,
Is that why
so
they're changing Facebook
Facebook changed their name to Meta because they feel like the metaverse will be the next thing. So basically it's virtual world. So imagine the internet, but in 3D, and we'll all be hooked up, and it's a new way to immerse ourselves and get lost in the internet and use it. So like, as you were talking, Abby, I'm like, I wonder if this talk relates to the metaverse. Everyone's talking about it. It's the
Mark
next
Zuckerberg,
biggest thing.
I hate it. Just putting it out
It's scary, right?
I hate it.
It's very
Yeah.
Black Mirror feels. I know.
hate it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. I mean,
I
Yeah.
wonder what Mr. Lee has to say about that. Mr.
Chairman
Lee's
Lee.
like, I know, Chairman Lee, I'm sure he knows it all, you know. I'm sure he knows about metaverse. It's a big thing. Anyways, that's maybe
Is
another episode.
Yeah, another episode. I hope you come back, Mike. I mean, we'd love to
Yeah.
invite you back again.
Thank you.
Before
See,
8
it's not
so
p.m.
hard.
And before 8 p.m., which is your bedtime, right? So
Yeah. I'm full of adrenaline now. I'm gonna like talk to RJ about this.
no, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Anyways, thank you for
yeah.
having me. It was so great seeing you and listening to Abby. It's just really wonderful to see people who are so, no pun intended, bright.
I love it. I love it. Thank you again, Mike, for joining us today. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys this, but if you want to see Mike and all the great work that he does online, you should definitely check out his YouTube channel. He has 3, Mikey Bustos Vlogs, and Ants Canada. What else are you up to that they don't know about?
Just those 3 for now.
Okay.
Ooh,
All right.
sounds
Yeah.
like you have a surprise.
I know.
Ah,
Right?
Stuff in the
Mikey,
works.
we're gonna find out in
Wow.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yes, Tina and I are gonna go see you in a few weeks, and then of course, Insta Abby, tell us about the Revelation series that's going on online with you guys.
Yes, you can watch it on YouTube and Facebook, our Facebook page, New Heaven, New Earth PH, and Monday and Thursday. And also we have some radio stations who are airing this Revelation series. So please watch this.
All right. And if you guys want to get in touch with us for anything, you can email us. The Narrow Door Podcast at gmail.com. Thank you again for joining us today on this episode of the Narrow Door Podcast. YouTube, Spotify, all this stuff I should have said in the beginning of the show. Again, got too excited about Mikey being here. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Bye, guys.